So in the first part of the video, we went through how to create a geometry and make sure we assign the material properties properly. Now we are actually going to look at the mesh. So in general, if you look it up on Google, there are a few different type of mesh for 3D geometry. If you want to click on your parts, and then in here, if you click on the mesh, bring you to the mesh tab. In here, you can assign mesh control. This is what we'll ask you. So let's first go try the tet mesh, which is the tetrahedron mesh. This is in general not a good idea for the mesh. Just like in 2D, we always prefer the quad mesh to the triangular mesh. In 3D cases, is even more so. So you can see from this picture, the tetrahedron mesh in general, it's stiffer. You only have 4 faces. You have obviously less degree of freedoms. So when possible, you should always try to use the hex mesh, which is this case. Let's try with tat mesh first. Is that okay? And then here, when you want to select this whole thing, click done. And then in here, you can seed part. I'm not going to do like seed edge. I'm just in general just going to use seed part. You click. You can see this is what it looks like. And then you can mesh your part. Say yes. This is what your part looks like. This is a not good mesh, as in it's not hex mesh. It's tetrahedron mesh. That's why we're not gonna go with it. You can always do is verify your mesh. You can click on the whole thing, and then it's like done, and then you can ask it to highlight it. The thing is, it might not necessarily highlight the part that it doesn't work. And then I believe the one on this one isn't very updated, so you may not see any warnings on here, although that's still not a good mesh because it's tetrahedron mesh. Now, okay, you say you want to use a hex mesh. Let's just say we just create this whole thing, click done. Now we want to use hex mesh. It only allows you to do the bottom up. However, in this case, because this part is made through revolution, so you wanted to use this sweep. It won't let you do it right now. That's why we actually need to partition the this whole part. So before we use this basically partition the surface or the face for sketch. But this is actually what partition the cut plane. So you want to click on this, and then it's very easy to just use point and normal. What we're going to do is what we're going to do in the same as what they do in this handout. We're going to cut it along this edge. So the top half, the top cylinder with the fillet thing, that's going to be one part, and the bottom cylinder is going to be the second thing. When you cut it through surface, there are different ways of specify the surface. You can do normal to edge, you can do 3 points, you can do point and normal. Point and normal is the easiest way. If you click on this, and then you want to select a point where the surface has that point, I'm just going to select this point, and then I'll ask you a normal direction, which is basically means the surface will be perpendicular to the normal. So I'm going to select this edge. You can say create partition. So now you're done with cutting it up. So how do you check if it's actually working? Go to your features. Now you can see there's a partition cell. See that? That means you have part of it being cut. So when you actually try to assign mesh control, you can click done. Well, actually, you need to create select mesh control. Now you can see this is one part, and then this is the second part. This means you have done it. So you select the whole thing, you click done, And now, if you actually do the hex mesh, it will let you do the swip. So you click OK, and then you want to do the seat part. You can do just like OK, and then you can generate the mesh. So here is the mesh. Here's a lot better version of mesh compared to the first one, because one, this is hex mesh, which just by nature better than the tab mesh. And on the other side, this mesh is also pretty well structured. It's not like really messy. And up to this point, you can again verify the mesh here. Click done, highlight. You can see there's like analysis warnings here. So what you want to do is you want to be like, you want to check the global size. For example, if I reduce it to, let's say, 3. Delete meshes. Okay. And then mesh this whole part. Yes. So now I have a lot finer mesh. Again, I want to do the highlight. Click done. Click highlight. Again, there are still the warnings. So basically what this is eventually going to introduce you to is, when you're doing fan analysis, you're never going to get to a point where it's like 100% perfect. Now, if your mesh is small enough, you can get really close. Like in this case, it's not happy about this part. It's really likely just because this fillet, the shape is irregular. So when you generate the hex mesh, just like when we were talking about in 2D, when you generate a triangular mesh, when one of the angles really sharp, Abacus is not going to like it. It's not going to give you really good simulation outputs. But in this case, we're just going to go with this mesh. Again, if you run into the same problem in your lab report, you can basically explain, this is a mesh I went for, this is a finer version, but there's still warning, but I'm still using this mesh. So this is so far how to do the whole mesh part. Again, going back, in the first part, we assign the geometry, assign material property. In the second part, which is this video, we're talking about how to make mesh, make sure the mesh makes sense. And then in the next video, I'm actually going to show you how to apply the load and boundary condition. It's going to be more tricky because this is a 3D case, but I will do that next video.